What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Starlight Digest, a community bringing you line talk and digesting Star Wars topics over 1,000 years. This is episode 230.
Wow.
A lot of episodes. And also for you archivists out there, this is also being recorded on October 11, 2023. And for your audio guys, thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Darth Moocher. I've got Scott Solo here.
What's up, nerds?
I've got Grant Admiral Franz here.
I can't even count to 230.
It's tough.
That's wild. I would need a break and probably a sandwich in between. That's a lot of episodes, dude.
230 times, and we still have more to say, right?
Scott, I couldn't tell what you were doing when we came on there with that thing. I still can't even read what it says. But I thought it looked like you were rolling something when you came on. I was like, what is going on?
Well, guys, of course, you know, we're here to talk Star Wars. Ahsoka is over. Sad. I am completely sad. I had nothing to do yesterday, nothing to watch. But there's so much to talk about, though. There is still so much to get digesting. So before we get into all that good stuff, kick it over to Scott, who is recovering from COVID. So maybe he can muster up a little bit of announcing and get our Shadow Council shouted out. And everybody who's popping in the pit. So, Scott, take it away.
Well, first of all, thanks, Papa Schmitty, for backing me up on what I saw.
Oh,
I was rolling up some blue masking tape to attach my lovely decal.
Exact same.
We're PG-13 live and rated R behind the scenes. But yes.
Is that even R anymore? We're in California.
Yeah, exactly.
P.
It's not R.
Probably not. It's
NC-17.
G, basically.
Yeah.
Grass.
Rated G for grass, right? All right, so Shadow Council people, thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate you. I'm not going to make this long-winded because my throat hurts. So special shout out to AJ from the Forbidden Panel, all Star Wars fans from Instagram, Brandon and Anya Epler, Cliff, Crystal Escalera. Crystal, I fixed your name there. Sorry, I misspelled it last week. My bad.
Uh-oh.
Fixed now. I know. And I know her. I've known her for years. Oh, God. Anyway, Darth Josepher, Dennis McGrath, Don the Dad Dorn, Don and Brady of the Escape Pod podcast. My God, this throat. Eric Grubb, Flavy Davy, Ryan and the Star Joes, Gavin Connor, All Cure Holy Hour podcast, Justin the Vanilla Thunder, Mervine Bolanos, Matt Logic, and Papa Schmitty. Thank you all for following us. Thank you all for being members of the Shadow Council. Our first vote is only 7 days away from being closed, and there is a front runner topic. So if you have not already logged on, log into patreon.com/Sarlacc Digest podcast and place your vote for our very first Shadow Council. Thank you for the cough drop, sweetie. Shadow Council vote for topics. Okay. So yeah.
Nice.
Yes, and my lovely bride brought me a
yes.
pop drop.
Well,
so
don't stop there, Scott. We got to get this guy to have no voice by the end of the show.
I'm going to argue with him every chance. I cannot.
Yeah,
I'm going to see how long it takes for me to get Scott's voice to go.
This episode
I think the over-under is 24 minutes. So anybody wants to get in on that, I can get Scott's voice out of here.
I can just sign. I'm really good with sign language.
We're going to talk about Attack of the Clones and how wonderful it is, and a masterpiece off and on paper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It is. I'm just going to be the hype man in the background. Yeah.
We're talking about the droid arc in the Clone Wars.
Perfect in every way.
We're going to nitpick Rebels. Yeah, we're going to tear it up today. We're going to get Scott.
I'm waiting for him to say Empire Strikes Back isn't the best Star Wars movie.
Why would I do that? That would be
exactly.
Right?
Let's not be ridiculous now, Scott.
What is wrong with you? Now we're going to argue about the ridiculousness.
Yeah, now we're. Yeah, let's not get too far there.
Jesus. So in the pit, currently digesting, we've got Don the Dad Dorn. We have got Master Junobi, Matt Logic 44, Papa Schmitty, Gavin Connor, Santo 1414. What is up, everybody? I see there are other people watching, so hey, jump on in there, say hello, get a shout out, and enjoy the show.
Master Junobi is Julianne Fernie, by the way, too. So,
oh, nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, what's up, everyone? Hey. Gavin Connor says, glad you're still kicking, Scott. We'll see by the end of this if you're glad.
Yeah, right.
23 minutes left on the over-under.
Right. Exactly. All right, guys. So, we're here living post-Ahsoka series and everything that it presented to us. And I don't know about you guys, but I actually went back and watched it again, started over. And it wasn't planned. We got rid of Scott. There he is.
I said, I win.
It was
1.5 minutes.
Yeah. It
wasn't even planned.
No. Yeah. But I was just
not even planned. I'm kidding.
I just wanted to watch Ahsoka again, right? And so as I was watching it again and knowing the end game on or what it presented to us, I found myself like really leaning in again and just really bearing down and paying attention to everything. And it's even better. It's like even better knowing what these characters are going through. Like I didn't mind Sabine. I saw things going, forward and stuff. And, it got me thinking too, like Ahsoka is now here. It's in our shelf, right? It's presented to us. We put it in the timeline now. And what is the impact now? Like of our continuous living, breathing Star Wars timeline from Phantom Menace, all the way to the sequels. Ahsoka's here. What does it mean? What's the impact that this show had? I kind of want to start off with, like, I know Chris is starting to revisit some Clone Wars stuff and whatnot and the Mortis arc, right? I always thought like the Mortis arc was just kind of like this interesting one and done, it was a cool thing that Filoni gave us. And really? It was kind of like, we'll never visit that again. And again, here's what Ahsoka did. And now that it's brought it to the forefront of like this huge impact possibilities, right? And then it makes you wonder, going like, well, damn, like bringing us in the full front into like an actual thing that's going to change the course of things. How is that going to change our perception of like prequel era stuff? Going back, Old Republic style, like really, I don't know if
I think Ahsoka has more impact backwards than it does forward. Right, like I see a lot of complaint that how Disney tries to retro the sequels, and we're going to see that in Mandalorian and stuff. But I think it has a more impact, like on Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff. Like back at those, rewatching those things and seeing how it's going to turn out.
It
more so
depends.
than-
It depends on what Balin unleashes into the universe. If Balin unleashes anything into the universe, I mean, there could be a long lasting effect going forward that way
But
too.
do you see
'cause
that
we don't
in the sequels?
No, but I
No.
could see it in whatever's coming post sequels with
Yeah.
if they're still doing the Rey
But what
shit.
I literally said was it didn't impact the sequels. What I'm saying is not impacting
Yeah.
the sequels. It's not going to
Gotcha.
change that at all. Like say the Clone Wars impacted the prequels,
Right.
right?
Unless he
But I keep
unleashes
seeing-
Snoke.
Yeah, which would be fucking lame considering he got
Right?
killed so easy, right? So that wouldn't play out. But
No.
it doesn't. I don't see it impacting the sequels yet. Mandalorian will impact the sequels more because of the cloning stuff, right? And I think Thrawn in the New Galaxy
Thrawn.
or back
Mhm.
in the regular galaxy will impact it.
I see what you're saying. Like Ahsoka's presenting its own kind of pathway into the Star Wars canon as we know.
Yeah,
Like
if
it's
anything,
carving
it's
its
just the
own
old
little.
stuff connecting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, of course, it is Rebels season 5. You know, it is the presented it to us that way. We got continuation of all the characters, mentions of all the characters, and like, you have to wait and see if it impacts anything moving forward, like a season 2, and bridging that 30-year gap between
That's when I think
Mandalorian.
and the movie's going to be our bridge, don't you think? I mean, I would.
100%. So I guess there's that. I guess the impact is as far as like what it is. It's the wait and see. But the past.
Heir to the Empire, the name of it in itself, I'm thinking Thrawn, right? But you know how they always kind of play double edge with the titles. The Heir to the Empire is just the First Order. That's the next piece of the Empire, right? So that's what it's going to be, is the start there.
Yeah.
That's when you'll bridge it.
Yeah. Okay. So aggressively relaxing. If you all think Star Wars is doing something other than building towards the next Rey adventure, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. I think Brooklyn can't afford to lose any bridges, but I will say this: we're not naive in the fact that what the Disney era is doing is bridging the 30 years gap in between the Return of the Jedi and the sequels. Okay, there is that time frame. Yes, we know that there's a Rey movie that's supposed to take place 15 years after the sequels. We have theories going on about like what Balin is releasing, and that could impact that movie going forward. So it has nothing to do with the sequels. But then there's also like the origins of it is the movie that takes place.
That's the one that's right.
That's the one I think is back. It's
so we're
opening up
this
whole Peridia thing opens up everything for where everything originated. You know, originated.
Yeah. So
I don't see why that would be okay. Why would that build to a Rey movie? Any of it? Why would any of that build to a Rey movie?
It's just
other than somebody just saying this is going to be the Disney Rey crap. Other than that, why? Any hints we've had so far?
No hints. But the question is, but the question is, like I always say, why do a Rey movie? Why is this movie even being considered? And we always said, like, hey, just stop it at Rise of Skywalker. Boom, boom. They walked off into the Twin Suns again, and we just have this cool sandbox to play within those 30 years.
Because you have young actors that can still do it, right? So why not maximize on that and play in all the sandboxes? Because you've got fans of the sequels, you've got fans of the originals, Rebels. We're all the same people, right? This is our era right here. And then you got fans of the old stuff, you know?
Yeah, if they wait another 30 years, you're going to have another situation where they're going to want Rey or somebody, and she's going to be like, Judi Dench. It's not going to work.
Or like we are right now with Anakin and Hayden coming back 20 odd years later. We don't need that. Let's get it done while we can.
I don't think
the Disney era TV shows and Heir of the Empire and stuff, it'll touch it, but it's not building to, hey, look, now in 30 years, we're going to have this Rey film.
No,
maybe it won't, though. Maybe it won't because everything they're... Go ahead.
No. I was just trying to say, like, there's something to be said to when we talked about, when we go back our talks about Grogu, right? How Grogu could be in 500 years from now. Grogu could be that warrior character, that Yoda character of just carrying a legacy moving way forward. And how do you get there? You sit there and you introduce something, and you have the Rey movie bridge it. And then you have that time jump that goes exactly. So you do this whole thing with Ahsoka, because Ahsoka split. The timeline split in its series. Thrawn and Ezra came back to our main conflict.
Thrawn's with Mando now. We're going to see Thrawn with Mando.
Thrawn's with Mando in our time, and like our time thing. Ahsoka, Sabine, Balin, they're off in this other thing that could bridge this other story that they have future Star Wars movies and Disney stuff going forward. Like I said, that and it bridges Grogu 500 years way in the future. But they needed that. And to me, that's like somewhere they're going, we need to make a movie that explains things after the sequels, that uses Rey, because that's their baby. And again, they're not going to retcon it. They're going to double down. And we all said that, double down on it, just go forward. Well, they're like, we need a movie to do this. And then boom, we have this major book. They can even leave it open-ended to touch whenever they want to, because they're a business and they're going to do stuff, yes, they can go back 25,000 years and see what the Mortis gods were all about and explore that if they're doing it, or Old Republic stuff, or Rakata stuff, like ancient Sith or Force wielders, and explore that. But there is a finite, not finite stories, but there's a finite description of the galaxy at that point. If you want new and inventive stuff, you have to bridge some things. And that's where I was thinking, that's where Ahsoka's impact is doing twofold, because it's continuing the story in our galaxy, our time, up to the sequels. And that's with Thrawn, Mando, and Ezra now, boom, and Luke Skywalker. And then Ahsoka and stuff have this other thing that they're planning on. To me, it seems like a light bulb went off. And I could be wrong. People could disagree with me, but a light bulb went off and look, we actually have a way, just like Dave Filoni says, I have a way of bringing Thrawn back and Ezra back. And it's going to take a whole season to do it. So in this other...
He did say that. It was a convoluted... Yeah. And it was a long story to tell. It was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. But it works in the grand... and that not rush to content era that we're in, because we're not getting just 3 movies and then done, where you have to speed things. You have to kind of get everybody in the conflict and then resolve it as fast as you can. We're in this time of marinating a Star Wars story. So we took a whole season of getting Thrawn and Ezra back. The next season could be this other big gap. And you know what I mean? We can have 4 seasons of Ahsoka, 10 seasons of Mando, of doing all this stuff. That's what we want, right? We want to kind of get these stories in and play in the sandbox some more. Yeah,
as long as it doesn't get wore out, I'm good. I just don't want to turn into Marvel's kind of watered down stuff, right?
Yeah,
as long as we're good, and we are for the most part. There's dips here and there, and they're always going to be, especially in short. When you add all of our seasons, there's 2 seasons of something, right? Maybe 2 seasons of Rebels, or so. That's all we've had really is 2 seasons. You're going to have dips and downs and filler. We've kind of had that, but we're ending on a really, really high note the last 8 episodes, and I guess I just don't aggressively relaxing again. His last point here on that same what started that. By the way, I love the name because that feels basically how I
yeah,
right. It's the opposite of comfortably numb. Yeah, sure. He has witches, and he's about to put remnants together with an hexagon rewarded with weapon. We get all that, but why is that building to Rey? That's not. It's just building towards the Heir to the Empire movie. Is what I'm saying. I said the vibe on this is building to Rey. I'm going off of this because the bridge in Brooklyn. Right, that's why I got a bridge in Victorville that says if we're building to a Rey movie, right, we're just building towards the Heir to the Empire film and getting through all this. The Grist will play a part way before the Rey movie, I would think. That's way too big. That's a 40-year buildup for the Grist.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like there's 2 separate stories that we've got out of Ahsoka that it's doing stuff, and Exegol, First Order, the sequels, Thrawn, Luke, everybody here, and then you have this other thing that's building again. That's where let's just put it this way. I see a potential connection that way, but it also could lead all back into one point in time, and then all have this conflict here, and then Rey movie is just whole thing about reuniting, and like you guys said,
I just think that's going to be Grogu's touch, right? That'll be Grogu's touch in there, and they'll have whatever adventure they have. But I think it'll be kind of unrelated to anything back here. Grogu to me, even though 50 some years old, and even if the end of the sequels, he's still too young to be doing a lot of stuff, and I know that we compare him to Yoda because the same species, but different circumstances, I guess. Grogu was pulled out of the training, and Grogu was thrust into a conflict, just like Ahsoka, and that was the whole point of it. She wasn't trained as a traditional Jedi. She was trained in war, and she had to adapt. So when we say Yoda was training younglings at 100 years old, Grogu, it's in a different path. He's for 50 years, his training, his impact stopped. I kind of stand that he was in carbon freeze for a lot of that, and he's not. He's 50 years old linear time.
Yeah,
but he was frozen
Until that's a thing, then yeah.
I mean, 50 years old is a long time to be a damn baby.
I get it.
Because of since he was 100 years old, right? Since Yoda was 100, I'm like, he can't be half his age and be able to be there. They have to grow up similar.
Yeah.
They have to have some kind of similarity in that.
It's just the time shaped the person too. That's what's the whole thing. But let's see. ATSW's skate pod is checking in hello from the east side. We've got Scuttlebutt podcast checking in. What up, gentlemen? Let's see here. Julian, I'm going to call you Julian because Genobi, I'm not used to it, but Master Genobi said, do you think Disney is trying to avoid what Marvel has done with the overkill of characters after character in Marvel movies after Marvel? Yeah, I get what you're saying. Look, they can't pause because if they pause, they lose money. And that's the whole thing. So overkill, yes, they're going to do it no matter what. There are going to be some properties and some things that they move that it's just not going to have the impact. And I have a feeling that if Skeleton Crew and Acolyte don't have like we said that in the Mandoverse impact, I think that will, go to the wayside of a filler like Moon Knight, where was it Werewolf by Night, like those kind of things where it doesn't have like this huge impact, but they're cool little side quests. If that's what she's getting at, like a little bit of
Marvel just doesn't know where they have no aim right now. That's the real problem. It's not overkill. They have no aim. So
they don't know where they're leading to. There's nothing they're leading to.
That's what the problem is. Loki, we talked about that. I like that after Ahsoka because I know where the aim is. Nothing else I do. So Star Wars, I see where the aim is. Right, we're kind of building towards something. Mando was building up to really, and if you watch the whole thing in a row, you figure out it was going to be to the Mandalorian season. That was neat, right? The unification and everything. That was cool. Ahsoka is going to build up to Heir to the Empire with Skeleton Crew and Mando and everything else in between. We know where this is all going. We kind of know where Marvel, and we can see it. We can see it building. We can see the pieces, how they're going to meld in. Yeah. If you go to Marvel and say, okay, how is She-Hulk going to connect with WandaVision? Who's going to connect with Loki? Who's going to connect with Ant-Man? None of it, and Shang-Chi, none of it makes sense anymore. None of it. So Star Wars is, as long as we don't do that, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
May I?
Sure.
What was the over under on me losing my voice?
Huh?
It was at 22 minutes at 09. So you got a little ways to go. Yeah.
Got a little ways to go. Okay, because you haven't let me say a goddamn word all night long. So
say a fucking word, Scott. Damn. I've said little. I've letting Marco run it. Come on. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Just speak.
No, man. By all means, you guys are doing great. Keep it up.
Why'd you say anything?
But honestly, okay. I was just commenting that I haven't lost my voice yet, and you told me I was going to lose my voice by 24 minutes in. So
after
33, what was that?
33 because it was at 09.
33. All right. I'm counting.
I'm lost.
But no, I think you're right, and that Marvel is completely aimless right now. And I don't know if and they're not building anything, or what they are building to. We're not seeing an impact of it yet. I mean, because originally with the Avengers, we had the big guns coming up. They're building to what, Dark Avengers now? And who the hell are the Dark Avengers?
I don't know.
Who are these people? Secret Invasion was awful. I couldn't even finish it. I haven't even started Loki yet.
That's fantastic.
Is it? Great. I can't wait. But what I am hoping is that Loki does, since Mobius, is that his name? Yeah. Since he is in Deadpool, I'm hoping that opens up the can of worms of, the multiverse and bringing Deadpool into the Marvel universe.
That's what I'm hoping by the end.
That is the only bit of excitement. I've got it all for Marvel.
Me too.
And it's like, same with DC. I've got like no excitement whatsoever for anything DC because there hasn't been any announcements yet.
But it's not overkill on the characters, right? It's because there's no aim in the stories anymore.
Yes.
Marvel, I was all in on their first, not even the 22, maybe the first 15 that it started. I'm like, where the hell are we doing right now? Right. And a couple of them got kind of shitty. But since this new phase, I've lost it because they lost it. It's DC. Yeah. I was in. I love the characters. Every one of those characters by themselves, great. There's no direction in the films. Maybe there is now. I'll trust James Gunn when he gets it, but he hasn't got it. So right now, I don't give a shit. Right? Yeah. Star Wars, there's a clear direction. Whether it's going to the future, the past. There's one line of time in Star Wars, and everything we watch connects to it. And that's why he has the world between worlds, by the way. If you ever watch that interview with Filoni where he says he created the world between worlds so you could see that every era connects. And I can't put it in the words he did, and it was really eloquent the way he did it. But that's what the whole point of the world between worlds is. And that's what they miss in these other things. And that's the problem with multiverses and crap like that. You don't have this, you get lost. And
everybody kept saying with the world between worlds showing up in Ahsoka. I remember we were talking about that. They better not create a multiverse. They better not create a multiverse. I think they're smarter than that.
Yeah.
With Star Wars, I don't think Star Wars fans would be as accepting of a multiverse unless they were somehow able to unlock this door where there's animation that has like legend stories adapted into it. And I think that's fine, I guess, but you still have those books. Those books haven't disappeared.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's kind of the same deal. So, I think they're smarter than having the world between worlds.
They are, because in the Mortis arc, right? In the Mortis arc, when the brother made Anakin see the future, right? And he saw himself killing the younglings, invading Darth Vader. The father told Anakin later, he broke the space-time rule. And that wasn't supposed to happen, and blah, blah. And he took away him seeing the future. You're not supposed to go in the future and the past and see that stuff.
Yeah.
He told him he broke it. So there are set rules. And I feel like Filoni does stuff for a reason, right? I know he throws jabs at all of us fans all the time in the shows about, when Hui Young and the 1, 2, 3s, and all this stuff. They're always doing that. Little truth and legends get said a lot.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So that right there was
Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, that was telling us stuff, right there.
Yeah.
We're not going to screw with time. No matter what we do, right?
And what we've been saying for years is they're going to bring in people like Thrawn or like Corran Horn, like they did in Kenobi, and they're going to find a way to kind of whittle those characters back into the universe slowly but surely, to where it's not going to feel as disassociated from Legends as it has.
Yeah. It's going to be the smart with the bringing, just like the MCU does, brings in characters and storylines, but twists it into, makes it fit in the MCU. So by all of that, what you guys said and what by Julie's comment was like, we're basically living in the first 10 years of the MCU, that first where it has, leading up to Infinity War and an Endgame is like all these things going on. And maybe to her point, or where she was trying to get at, like, okay, after the Dave Filoni movie and everything is tied up and Thrawn is defeated or whatever, we get to the sequels.
Then what?
Continuing Star Wars, because Disney's not going to just go, okay, cool, we'll move on to something else. They're going to continue all more Star Wars. And are we going to get to that point where it becomes that convoluted overkill, where it's just stories for the sake of stories and not working on this grand timeline anymore?
Not if they're willing to move away from the current timeline.
Right.
I think if they're able to
pick it up,
if they're willing to, to give themselves, have the balls to go way back in the past or way into the future, don't touch the name Skywalker, and just, you could still use some of the worlds. You can have a jungle planet of Tatooine thousands of years ago. You can have Coruscant before it's a completely city planet, and
that's what I think they're working on.
That's what I hope. But if they go to the Rey movie, into the future, we're stuck in that same time loop again, unless they got to break out of that.
But this is what I think where Balin's impact has, because what he's unleashing, it's going to let the sequence of events finish from what we've got, because the sequels. And then that Rey movie is going to usher in what Balin's unleashed, and it's going to project forward. That's what's going, like I said, getting away from that Skywalker thing. But they found a way of getting away from Skywalker. You know what I mean? That movie being the end all be all. Boom. Now again, Grogu. I'm just speculating. 500 years, Grogu. Whatever Balin unleashed. No more empires recycles that. And then you have the 25,000 years exploring the Force in general.
The Grogu thing is so smart. The Grogu thing is so smart, because then we have our in, and the people that are familiar with Disney Plus have their in into the future without having to be bogged down with everything else.
Yeah, it's a way. It's almost like it's almost like a way of storytelling falling into our laps because they created Grogu, right? They created Grogu for, like I said, it was supposed to be like this wolf and cub story. Boom. And then someone sat, or Dave Filoni probably sat and go, look, there's so much here. There's so much we can do with this. But the secret is, how do we get there? And I think there seems to be a switch in gears that they figured it out. Now we've got to sit back and let it happen. You know, Ahsoka series season 1 had to happen the way it happened, because again, rewatching it, and I'm going like, a lot of people are like, geez, it was kind of like lackluster and it didn't have that much impact. I'm like going, no, I think this is the tip of the new beginning of the. Why did season 3 of The Mandalorian wrap up so fast? Like they wrapped up almost every single loose end in that last 10 minutes of Lando season 3.
They did
to get to a point where it's like, okay, we got this other thing that we're gonna do.
We can't keep playing this game anymore. We're good here. We're all set. We know the characters. Everybody's in place. Let's jump. We got a war to go. We got a war to hit.
Yeah, because everybody went back in like season 3 of Mandalorian. We're like, wait a second. What? Like, how did that just every bow was tied at the very end? No.
Yeah, like you're not wondering what happened to anything. You're like,
right.
Not at all.
And like I said,
and
prelude.
And Dave Filoni, I mean, he starting with the Clone Wars, he projected what was going to happen in Mandalorian. I mean, it all started there with the introduction of the Darksaber, the warring Mandalorians. For people that watched Mandalorian season 3 and said, what does this have to do with Mandalorian? What does this have to do at all? What is this stuff? Why do we care? It's like, well, it was a layup, man.
Yeah.
It was a long play game.
To introduce characters and then basically bring us up to speed on the state of the galaxy. Ahsoka kicks it off. Now we're running. You know what I mean? Just like Papa Smitty, you can't get away from Skywalker and have a Rey movie. She's Rey. Yes, but that's the thing. It's the movie to tie in, to put a bow on everything that we've known. Yeah. So
you have to see where she's at. You have to see where the galaxy is at. You have to get a touch with Grogu to connect it all. And then you move forward from there.
Tell more story. The only reason to do it is tell more story, because you could leave it at Rise of Skywalker. Again, it was like, you could have left it as is and never touched it again. But I always question, why are they doing it? Because we know the backlash. We know all this stuff. Why would Disney do another one of these kind of movies and with right? Like, unless it was to like put a bow on it, but that bow also unleashes this whole thing, you know. Which is kind of exciting to think about, you know, like okay, they know enough and they want to do this movie. You guys have a good point on that thing where like use the characters because they can. Like, don't make that George Lucas mistake where you let the 80s fly by and the 90s fly by and then when you wanted to touch Star Wars, you went back, and then Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison, it was just kind of out of the hand. So when the sequels did come out, they had no choice but not to use the characters the way we all wanted them to be.
They had to be 30 years forward.
It was just too late. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
technology that couldn't de-age everybody yet. So
so my fear is that they just want to make a movie just to make a movie. That's my fear. My hope is to make a movie because it makes sense to make a movie. You know what I mean? So to Papa Schmitty's to get rid of the Skywalker, or to finalize it once and for all. This is the legacy of the Skywalkers from Phantom Menace. Boom, this movie, and then everything in between was part of it.
And is she the final Skywalker then? And then moving forward beyond that, who knows? Who knows?
Why? Because she, adopted her own self. She's not really a Skywalker.
Unless she marries Grogu and they have a kid, and then that kid can be blood.
Here's a question: is Grandmaster Rey Skywalker? Because I mean, think about it. Grandmaster Rey Skywalker, is she going to enforce the rules of the Jedi Order? Because she does have the books.
Yeah,
she got them all from Yoda, and
I say no. And they use those books as like, well, I was going to implement this rule, but it's right here. I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the Jedi things. Yeah, maybe, we should stray.
She also had those conversations with Luke, where Luke was, and say what you want about The Last Jedi. The scenes with Luke in it where he's training her was very knowledgeable about, in our blind arrogance and our dogmatic view of the galaxy, we couldn't see beyond our own noses to see that we were being manipulated by Darth Sidious,
Right.
So she could take his lessons in those novels and create something
it's
new.
the first draft, or
I think she'll learn more, because the Jedi didn't necessarily have all those. Those are ancient Jedi texts that Luke found over time.
Yeah.
Right. Those the view that got them in trouble was Yoda's dogmatic view. Yoda's running the council. That's what got him in trouble. The no attachment, the no this, the no that. So that probably won't be in those texts because those are handwritten on paper. Yoda's time was different, right? So it's she can learn a lot from there and probably go that way, maybe the ancient Jedi way, the way the texts were written, more of that route. Because remember, from what I've heard on here, we know the High Republic is different, right? Everything we got through in the High Republic.
So far, I mean, it really seems like they don't have the strict rules regarding attachments and
at all. They're attached to each other. So what's going to happen is, so whatever bad happens eventually in the High Republic, right? It's going to, and Yoda becomes the Grand Master there. It's going to be his dogmatic view, his change in rules that screw him up.
Could you imagine if it's all Yoda's fault? That would really.
I think it is. I think it's
suck.
Totally
would they do that to George Lucas? That's his favorite character.
That would be really messed up.
Well, doesn't Yoda see it as his fault anyway? He was the Grand Master at the time the Emperor took over, and he lost the fight to Palpatine. And he, I think already it kind of was, but
always lessons learned, though. Yeah, but Yoda always has a twisted view on things. It's like he's like, lesson learned.
He kind of did still, right? It is the way the universe works, and it is the Force wills it. So these guys don't dwell on it, especially after they're dead.
Yoda doesn't dwell on it. Yes.
Yeah,
He's he killed us. Ooh.
Speaking of the High Republic, I do believe the new book is coming out that starts off Marchion Ro's next part of his evil plan. I don't know if I care. I mean, I want to care because I liked the first era of the High Republic. That was enjoyable.
Yeah.
The second part of the High Republic, I just didn't give. I got halfway through it and I stopped, and I forgot that I stopped. I went back to choose a book and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to finish reading High Republic. Oh, well, I'm going to read this other thing.
Yeah.
It's not exciting, but with Marchion Ro back, I think I'm going to pick it up and start again and just kind of ignore. I'm going to ignore those prequels and move on with the sequels, as I'm known to do sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure. I think when it's all said and done and presented, maybe it'll be cool to visit. I mean, it is canon. It is,
leading to the Acolyte, supposedly.
Yeah.
Or some kind of link to the Acolyte.
I mean, yes. And like I said, with Acolyte, with the way High Republic is presented to us with on paperback, basically, on physical form, it's a very, very small percentage if the Acolyte leans heavy into those things. You could say it could be said about like cartoons, like the Clone Wars and Rebels, like how Ahsoka leans very heavily on people watching that, but it did a very good job at bridging that gap and presenting these people as brand new characters, and you learn about them, and and it's not all said and done. You still learn about them. So I'm hoping
it's going to be different characters for the most part. I think there's only maybe one or two in there recognizable from that era, because we're going to be closer to Phantom Menace than we are to the books. So
100 years to Phantom Menace, I believe.
Yeah, it might be even leading up to, I mean, like there might be time jumps in.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it's pretty close. So
because
we talked about how Plagueis would be potentially a play in here somewhere.
Yes.
Or Tenebris, or Tenebris.
Either one, right?
No, it'd be great. I think so, and I hope so. And like I said, I hope that Acolyte does help us. Like you watch it and you're like, okay, you understand it without going back. But again, us, we do go back. We will explore.
Yeah.
And
I kind of hope like the people that came in fresh watching Ahsoka would then enjoy it enough to want to dive back and go back to the beginning and see her origins. I think now's a great time before whatever happens in the future. We've got a bit of a lull before you've got more Star Wars coming out. Take the time, if you haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels, and get to know those characters a little bit more.
Sure.
Which you should have already done.
Sure.
And after you watch season 7 of Clone Wars, then watch Tales of the Jedi, so you can see the second episode, so you can see what happened on the train.
Yeah.
Because that would just be like, oh, damn.
Yeah. God, so good.
Aggressive relaxing. He's telling us. He said second part of High Republic is incredible with the app. A library card you can listen to your areas collection of Star Wars books. I think what it is, it's like I said, I like, maybe I'm waiting for it to all be presented and done, because I was like with Scott and Chris, like we all we went head first into that first half of that High Republic.
We had the authors were all on the show.
We had the author, we interviewed them. We were the books. We were into it, the audiobooks, because that's what we do. We do the
aggressive relax. We've had Kevin Scott on here, Daniel Jose Older, Claudia Gray. They've all been, and Mark Thompson, who narrates them.
Yeah, and to be fair, we didn't give phase 2 a chance, and we kind of lost interest of it, and it just didn't grab us. So me personally, I did not give it a fair chance, and I will, though. That's the whole thing. I just not there yet, too much with the Kenobis and the Ahsokas and the Disney Plus, and it's for me to like get into this 300-year time period where it's interesting, cool, but I didn't feel Star Wars and whatever I was into. So Michael is checking in. Hope the family is doing good. Federation representation, absolutely. What's up, Michael?
What's up? Yeah, the High Republic, like you said, the first third of the whole thing is great. I loved Marchion Ro. That was awesome. The second one, it's Marchion's mom or grandma. I don't care. It was not the first book and a half. Could not keep my interest. Maybe I'll go back after I'm done with the third part and reread those. Maybe then there'll be enough impact to make me go, okay, I want to know more about what that thing is.
I hate that because I get that sometimes, whether it be a show or a book, where I'm really even a lot of novels, right? I don't care until the end. I'm like, this book sucks. And then I get to the end and I'm like, damn. Yeah. Reread it or re-listen to it. Aftermath was a lot like that.
Yes.
Aftermath is exactly like that.
Real tough to get through. But once you get through it, the payoff is pretty good.
It's the same thing. Like I already loved the Ahsoka series. I already loved it. And then taking my time and didn't rewatch it. I'm sitting there going, knowing that what's going to go on and everything like that. It just was like just so much. It was just more impactful. It was just I don't know. It felt better. Book of Fett did the same thing. Kenobi series. They all after it's all presented after the weeks of spoon-fed
week by
watching,
week.
It really has that. It really does have a larger impact than the initial watch. You know what I mean? And I'm sure High Republic is going to be that same thing. It'll have a larger thing, especially if they present things into the visual canon versus the written canon. If they cross that, and if Acolyte has that bridge, then it'll definitely show more.
Part of the problem with the High Republic too is you've got books that are spread over. The main story is spread over like 3 adult books, 2 young adult books, a couple of kids novels, and comic books from 2 different publishers. Yeah. And you're reading one story thinking that you're going to get the whole thing. And then all of a sudden I forget what the name of the salad people are, the evil salad people, but they're defeated in the comic book. And then they just kind of mention it in the book. Oh yeah, we took care of them. That was over there in issue number whatever. And it's not how you tell a cohesive story, man.
It's too much. Like we talked about before with Shadows of the Empire, right? They did that really well. Very small. Yes. Here's a book. Yes. Here's a game, and here's a soundtrack. Let's do it. High Republic, like you said. I brought this out because it made me laugh. I got a package the other day, and they sent me this book. I'm like, this is High Republic. I'm not going to read this. Keep up in the High Republic with these.
Yeah.
Another. Like I said, the story takes place in little kids' books, and I do usually read the kids' books, but not the High Republic ones. But
and then the comics have this whole other thing going on. It's too much,
and that's what threw me off on the High Republic. Actually, was the comics, because once you got to the comics, they weren't good. I did not. They were not. Maybe if I stayed just on the novels and stopped trying to get it all down, I'd be okay. Oh, actually, you know what the problem was? I remember now, and too many damn characters. Is what it is. There was a lot to go on. I mean, they gave us a flow chart to start because they knew there were a lot of characters, so we had to go through that. And then I'm going through. I'm liking some, and I'm like, okay, this is my favorite character. Oh, you're dead. All right, well, I gotta pick another one. I mean, they're not really all that great right now. Oh, you're dead. Shit.
Who are we following? Like, who are we following? Besides villains at this point? You know what I mean?
Because it ended up being Stellan Gios. Eventually it was Stellan Gios that you followed throughout the whole story, but it took you the third book to finally realize, it's him I'm supposed to be following. It's not the what was the gal,
Avar Kriss.
Avar Kriss. I thought it was going to be Avar Kriss because she had that incredible ability to communicate through music with the Force. And I'm like, oh my God, this is an awesome Jedi. And then she leaves the book series, goes to the comic book series, but we're not notified of that because if we don't have a comic book store up here by us, so we can't go hunt down the comic books. And she fights the green Swamp Thing people and defeats them. while everything, it's just, I don't know.
It was too much to carry us. You can do that in Star Wars right now. Like we have all those comics I'm not caught up on in between the original trilogy because we kind of know what all happens, right? But you can't be telling a linear story almost, right? This whole thing and expect us to get by not reading every bit of it. It was just a lot to consume. I have a job too, man.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's true too. And then like when I was ordering stuff from like phase 1 and into phase 2, I was always like, what am I missing? Because there's, I know there's a list somewhere, and all of a sudden like this book and this book, and then I get them to the children books. I'm like, and it's just one little snippet of the bigger story of going on.
But you needed it because it introduced characters that actually did things in the other books. It's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, I think that's the complaint is, you know what? It was too involved. It really was. You did too much work on that, guys. Back off.
Yeah, that's right. Calm down.
Slow her down, guys.
Get lazy.
It was a rush of stuff too. It was like a lot. It was like the most content.
Yeah.
Within a year, all of it within a year, and that was too fast, Yeah. But whenever my two favorite characters are the villain Marchion Ro and a rock that doesn't talk or speak.
Yeah.
That tells you a little bit of something. Geode is awesome. Yeah. He's a rock. He doesn't move. He does move somehow.
But he's like, it's like he's there. That's the brilliance of it.
He's right there. They all love him. They think he's a crack up, and it's like,
yeah. It's funny.
The cleverness was good.
Yeah. We love that. We love that.
Well,
anyway,
we shall see.
Yeah, there were lovable parts. It just got crazy. That's all.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll see what's going on, but having fun doing the rewatching and stuff is cool.
Real quick, as I told you, I was going through my shows, and I went through the fun one. I went through I wanted to see the Blade of Talzin. So I did the Jar Jar and Mace. Arc, okay. What got me on here was, and I completely forgot they had those sect of other Force users, right? That were taking the leaders of the people that they called Jar Jar, the one that was in love with him, because they had people that could commune with the Force type of thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. There's some dark stuff in that episode.
There really was. So they dropped it up Indiana Jones Temple of Doom type stuff, right? They're sacrificing people. Anyway, they're sliding them down this slide, and what they're doing is taking their Force essence and putting it in a globe, their living Force. When they get to Jar Jar, he says, Misa no have the Force. And the guy says, everybody has the Force. And no matter how little you have, I'm taking it. And that's what I went, they've been setting us up for 10 or 12 years, guys. I mean, for probably about 46 years, we weren't paying attention. Somewhere along the line, Filoni knows more than we do. And he knows more about Lucas stuff than we do, as do, pretty much everybody probably. But this has been set up. So now seeing that, thinking back to Lucas stuff, doing all this stuff, I am really, really getting myself wrapped around Sabine. Like, I'm decent enough to see him. She unlocked it. They keep saying everybody. I've seen it time and again. This is all canon, all love stuff, right? Whether we all love that arc or not, it's in there. It's canon, and it was clear as day. And I'm like, oh shit.
And that's still Lucas era Clone Wars too, right?
Dude, so, that's Lucas telling Filoni what's okay and what's not. This is all okay. His idea was the Night Sisters; those were his people. This is Lucas wanted different sects of Force use, and all these things. It's all get okayed by him, so I'm down, man.
People think that Clone Wars was all Filoni's incredible imagination, but no, man, he's still the apprentice to the master.
Right?
Yeah, George Lucas created this thing, man, and
he's the master now. But right then, Clone War time, that was still Lucas time. Still firmly thumb on him right there, because that stuff was canon. Remember, to Lucas, it was the movies and the TV. That was it. Not
the books. Right. Never the books or the comics. Yeah.
Right. It was all cool until I got overridden. Right.
Right.
Yep.
So Yep. Exactly. Well, this brings me to my next moment. Topic here is what's next for. What's next that we're gonna watch? We've got a slate of production. Let's see, bring it up real fast. Thank you. We got 4 to choose from. And you know what? The strikes and all that stuff. Not talking about the delays and whatnot. With the 4 productions: Skeleton Crew, Andor, Acolyte, and Bad Batch 3. I'm not talking about what's done and ready to go. I'm talking about what is next for us to consume. What do you think like I said, this is if this is they're all intertwining together, what are we getting next?
I love that. But when you said that, right, they're all intertwined together. We have 100 years pre Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
we've got 12 years post A New Hope. We've got 2 years pre A New Hope, and we've got a year past episode 3, and they're all going to somehow touch. Right?
Yeah. Yes, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, this is tough because it's like each one of these can come out tomorrow and be like, and fit right
that's
into
your question.
our talk. And like,
what order?
No, not just this. What are we expecting next to come out? Is it Andor? Are we going to go? Like I said, are we going to do this?
Skeleton
right
Crew,
into
Skeleton Crew, then Acolyte. Yeah, those are
probably
early 2024.
And then Bad Batch, and I would think then Andor, because I think Skeleton Crew and Acolyte, all the principal photography is done.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're in post and maybe some pickup shots once the actor strike is over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think Andor is being written because even the writer of Andor said he was not touching a page during the strike.
Right.
And I don't know where they're at Bad Batch.
Well, I wasn't going by production. Only reason why I wasn't because Andor season 1 was in the bags for a long time before they put it out. They had other shows that they wanted to go first. I
still think that's going to be the order they want. We need to get Skeleton Crew in quick because we don't want to lose. What sucks is there needs to be a Mandalorian in here somewhere quickly.
Yeah.
We can't go 2 years between Skeleton Crew and Mando 4.
Unless all 4 of these are dropping next year. And that's possible.
Yeah.
And that's possible.
I would not be upset with that. But I do honestly think that Andor won't see the light of day until 2025.
I agree.
I almost guarantee it, unless it's like December of 2024,
Yeah. I think all these are right back to back is what I say. So delay, maybe go into halfway at 24, 25. But all of these before we get into
Skeleton Crew just recently changed this to January 24 from this year. It was going to be this year. And that's where I put it. It's probably first quarter next year.
Yeah. Steve Breedlove, hey, welcome. You saying Skeleton Crew's next. Yeah, I think Chris was saying, the momentum behind it. I've been hearing a little buzz about both of those, Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, like little things happening. Again, yes, the strike is getting things back up into production stuff, but there is a little bit more hype, I think, around Skeleton Crew at this point, especially because it is the same time frame as what were the Mandalorian and Ahsoka. Do we go right into that?
In my head, that's how that's got to connect, right? We got to get Jason in there somewhere. These are a bunch of kids I assume are going to be force sensitive with a Jedi in there. How do you not get these? I don't know. I'm excited about it, but it's supposed to be in new space, which we don't know is that new galaxy or not.
Right. If it's
we know we're going to fight those pirates, which means Hondo could possibly make an appearance here.
Right.
Been saying that for years.
Yep. Lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, I think when you have Bad Batch and Andor, I think those will come closer to each other because Bad Batch season 3 is the final season, and so is Andor season 2, the final. Though there's no more after that, right? We don't know about Skeleton and Acolyte if there's more intertwined with Ahsoka and Mando stuff.
Here's what's weird, and I know this is going to sound like me bashing on Andor again. I'm on all 4 of those. Skeleton 2, I'm pumped because I'm ready for this story to all connect, right? Bad Batch, I'm pumped because I want to see how that affects the sequels because I think that affects the sequels more than anything.
Of course.
Right? I think Mount Tannis and all this stuff is going to affect that. I'm excited about that. Yeah. Acolyte, I'm excited because it's 100 years and it's Sith focused. Andor is my favorite of those, or my least.
Because nothing, Andor is not going to impact anything. Which is
already there.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing that you're going to go like, oh my God, like
literally nothing.
Yeah,
we already know the end of the story, so we know where it's going.
It goes into Rogue One into So
the only things that could happen are something to Bix. And
I'm not vested in the
character,
which I would say about a lot of the comics and in the between stuff. Like a lot of things we would know, but for some reason, Andor, I'm like, really, we've already got Rogue One, which told us a story that we knew how it was going to end. They would get the plans right, which made it by it. Then I'm like, well. I just don't. I need a Jedi in there immediately.
And Steve Breedlove, he does say Andor is going to just build the world and tell an amazing story with complex characters. Absolutely, that's what it did the first time. That's not what we're saying at all.
No, but what Chris is saying
I'm the outlier on here, just so you know, Steve. Andor was a good show. It's a great sci-fi show. To me, it just didn't have a Star Wars feel. If you haven't heard me complain about that. Right, I like the Force. I like the lighthearted. I like the lightsabers. I like I like cheesy dialogue.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, Star Wars. You know, when it becomes to it, when it's. I said it the other day on somebody's. I forget who I told it to. I said I want a little more Filoni and a little less Nolan. Right? I don't need my Batman in Chicago. I need my Batman in Gotham.
Right.
You know, and that's what I want. Same with my Star Wars. I need some Force in there. That's all.
The Andor would be would get very interesting, like you said, with that. Like I think would get you to kind of like lean forward, and is if the handmaidens were involved, like Padme's handmaiden was Skarsgård's assistant. Like if that would that would get exactly.
That would get me. I'd be totally in if she was a handmaiden. I would.
And there's something about her.
And or imperial dignitaries with
100%, dude. You give it. Andor is my time too, because there you go. I can get Thrawn in there and prime Thrawn time frame because he's not gone yet, right?
Nope.
We have it. We have him.
No,
he could be.
He'll be close because he's 2 years before A New Hope when he's gone with Ezra, or a year.
Right, and this next season is 3 years in total, right? Because the season 1 was 1 full year. Season 2 is supposed to be. Okay, and then cool.
Oh, you know what would be cool is we get some kind of mention of the Rebel crew or the stuff on Lothal. You know, while you're in on Andor, that'd be some cool stuff because it's going to be going on at the same time. We just got to win on Lothal. It's time for us to go blah blah blah. That would be cool. That'd be. You know,
you saying that and us talking about the handmaiden theory. The idea that she is managing that antique store basically, and we had those statues of the father, the son, and the daughter. Their hands, we had those in Andor. Yeah. So we've had those in Andor. We now see them on Peridia on the other side of the universe. At the same time, the Lothal Temple is still standing on Lothal. So that iconography, I love seeing the continuity there of the Mortis gods being seen in different aspects of
and now that
corners.
All our characters are live action now, from like Rogue One to Thrawn, and so you can get them in Andor in this setting somewhere, even if it's a small tie-in, just for that continuity and get everybody on the same page as like where everybody was and stuff. And I would love to see Thrawn come in to that.
Get Matt Smith Thrawn as the younger Thrawn.
Yeah.
Can I get that?
There you go again.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, no, it's done.
It's too different.
It's too done. But that would, like I said, that's the thing that would pique my interest a lot. I love Andor. I think it's visually amazing. Great story, great acting. Just Star Wars.
So much cereal. It's the best.
But it is, the comedy is there. The action is there. What Chris is saying is what's missing is the Star Wars elements, the Force, the sabers, the Jedis, all that stuff. But it's the politicalness it's the other half of Star Wars,
which has its place, and I do like that. I do in all the movies that have Star Wars is political anyway, right?
Yeah.
But it has a mix of stuff, and you have the things like at the end of a Star Wars, a good Star Wars movie, you got 2 or 3 different scenes going on. Some of it might be political, some of it might be things, and this was just one straight.
But this is that slow marination, like we said with, and you know what I mean. There's room for it. So you have Ahsoka, which was all Force, all sabers, very little political, very little, because
that's why it's number 1 on my list.
It is to me too.
But yet I can sit there for an hour episode and watch the Imperials talk on a circular table and be quite fine with it.
Sure,
I would love that. Yeah. If I had all the Imperial mobs and everybody talking, cool. You put me.
There was a lot of that in Andor.
There was,
yeah, not enough. But that's when I was glued. That's when I was glued, man. I'm like, and you, Laura, and everybody was in. I mean, come on, how could you not be? Those are the great parts.
No,
and that slapsticky with the droid feels a little more Star Wars, but even then, it just feels. I know it's beautiful. I get it. It just. What saved Rogue One? Honestly, take out the Vader element, and Rogue One is a little bit down. It's not quite a 9 anymore, is it?
You're right.
It's definitely a downer.
The hallway scene was the selling. I mean, come on,
even
it got us all to shut up in the theater.
We're still talking about Kyber Crystals. We still had, the whatever they called themselves. I forget.
Guardians of the Wills.
We
also, we had Clone Wars vehicles being used as prison transports. We had all sorts of just visual eye candy that really worked. We had the Ghost. We had Chopper in Rogue One. There was a lot of elements in Rogue One that were great, but you stick Vader at the end of it, and it brings it up and up and up.
Yeah, I saw an interview with Gareth Edwards, right? That everybody says, "Oh, they came in, they reshot everything, and saved the film and stuff." He goes, "I was there every step of the way. Like I did the hallway scene. That wasn't something they added to my movie. This is something that they redid.
He was in the hallway scene,
and he was in it. Like he was in it. But he said every reshoot and everything that was edited to Rogue One as we got it was my movie. Like I did this stuff." Yeah. But the narrative got out there where they took it from Edwards, reshot it with a new, and they re-edited and pieced it together to what we've got now. Yes, there was reshoots 6 weeks of that or whatever it was, but that just makes me like hell yeah, I want Gareth Edwards to do a lot more.
Yeah, that's a spin put on it by people like us, podcasters and YouTube wannabes that are on there saying, "Oh man, they took it from him. They gave somebody
what
else
could have been."
What could have been?
Like I know we're talking about current slates, and what could have been the Guillermo del Toro Jabba the Hutt movie. It's all over the place right now.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
not the way it was described, right?
I didn't even go that far because I tend to be like, look, if it never was a thing, then never was a thing. Just like Trevorrow's episode 9, it never was. To me, I didn't want to do my ears. Right. So the prospect of that as a prospect. Okay, we also had a Boba Fett prospect. We also had the Kenobi.
Oh, but that was going to be hard R, man. That Boba Fett was.
Yeah. So now it's like, oh, what was stolen from us? What Disney stole from us? The Jabba the Hutt movie. So.
No, I'm more into what we got, and some of it isn't great. Some of it's pretty great, right? Yeah. And it is what it is. But
hey, man,
pretty good.
We can't get stuck in what could have been because we're not making it. We didn't get paid for it. We didn't go to school for it.
That's my point. I was never robbed of a Jabba the Hutt movie because it never was a thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. It was in my head, or it wasn't in my head, but it just didn't work out, and that's probably better.
What would rob me? Yeah,
I was about to hit that. There. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that one right there because he is dead on accurate. Yeah. Andor did Imperial bureaucrats talking better than the whole New Republic in Ahsoka.
It's not that they did it better. You're not wrong. That the Empire is better than the New Republic. That's all it is, and it always has been. Mon Mothma. Am I going to go on a rant about Mon Mothma real quick? Because she sucks.
Wait. Hang on a second.
My rant, but I can hand it.
It is your. Okay,
I'm gonna hand it over. I have a pre-mad. Is what I have.
Okay, hang on.
He's pre-mad.
Okay, there.
She still does nothing. She never does anything. Andor season 2 has a chance to save her, but not really, because it's going to happen in the middle of her not doing anything in Andor 1, not doing anything in Rebels, not doing anything in Return of the Jedi, not doing anything in Ahsoka, not doing anything in The Mandalorian. Never. She never does anything. She's useless. She just sits there, looks sad, and just. And then when the good guys do good things in spite of her, then she goes.
Yes,
I'm okay with it because I was rooting for them. Make it happen then. I can't stand Mon Mothma. Worst leader. Put Leia in charge. I'm voting for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Mothma. Okay, sorry.
But unfortunately, it never happens because Leia stays a senator before leaving, and that sucks.
I know.
At least in Legends, we had Chancellor. She was Chancellor of the New Republic, which was awesome.
That's the leader. We can't even ask for Andor because Andor looks like one of these old guys we haven't watched. I mean, Akbar, because he looks like one of the old guys in Washington now. You see him in that episode. He just sits there, doesn't know what's going on. He's just sitting there waiting for a paycheck. Akbar's they made him weak right there. He should have said something.
As much as I love and I have no rebuttal. Like I can't say anything positive about Mon. I can't. I can't.
I am not an Imperial guy. I like the Rebellion. I like the Republic. The New Republic is awful.
Yeah.
It is horrible. The minute they gave voice to Senator Ziono, I'm like, oh, come on, not this.
They're crap.
Not that kid's dad. Come on.
They're crap.
Yeah, it's awful.
That's why Thrawn has to come back and bring order, but we know he won't because he won't come to the First Order. Damn it!
He's gonna come and bring First Order.
Thrawn ruling the galaxy would be the best thing for the galaxy. Damn it!
So what we are saying is, as far as Andor season 2 and Mon Mothma goes, that
100%. There's no saving her. What are you gonna do? Have her save the day all of a sudden? She's 1 for 8.
I don't know because
maybe she'll take out her husband. That'd
be kind of cool.
Interesting.
It would make her character so much more interesting. but it would be so out of character because she's so weak.
No, we know it's going to happen. He's going
to turn her in.
Yeah, it's the live action Clone Wars episode. That's what's going to happen.
Rebels.
It's Rebels. Thank you. When she accuses the Emperor and she gets ousted and a price put on her head, and she becomes like
that will cross. I bet.
Yeah, she becomes the martyred person as the head of this split faction. People are going to agree with her, and that's what's going to happen in Andor season 2. You know, so she is going to be the person that says something then. But you're right, as far as like you sat back and you let all these things happen and you don't speak up. She became too much of a people pleaser, where opposition and aggression, she's agreeing on both and nothing gets done. Like she doesn't sit and go, shut up, sit down, we're going to war. Shut up, sit down, we're sending a ship.
She's just two in the middle, right? I mean, Saw called her out on it, and she wouldn't help Ezra and everybody on Lethal. It just come on.
You kind of get it, because she doesn't want to be another authoritarian leader, but at the same time, during wartime, you got to make a decision. You got to push forward, or you're not going to get anywhere. But the cool thing is, since Andor could tie into that episode of Rebels, we could see Mon Mothma being transported to the Ghost. We could actually see the Ghost in live action in Andor, which would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, because you could really get Hera in there. No problem. You can get most of them in there. I mean, all of them. Maybe not.
Since we're getting up to the minute where Andor meets Jyn Erso, maybe that's what we're seeing here. Is we'll just see Mon Mothma on the bridge of her ship and the Ghost coming into the viewport. You know, maybe that's what we'll see and how her story ends.
The beginning of Andor 2, is Kanan alive?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
He's alive until the last season. Probably not the last season. This is probably the second part of it, the second year.
Yeah.
But it leads up to a couple years before New Hope.
So episodes 4 through 6.
Right. Yeah, Kanan is part of her defecting. He's there on the Ghost with her. So yeah.
Crew's gonna be around. It's awesome. That's a good.
So there you go. Get Kanan in there and Ezra as the Ghost pulls up and saves Mon, and there you go.
So now that Hu Yang is stuck in Ahsoka's world, right? And we assume that Hu Yang will live there with Ahsoka and her show. And that's where it's going to take place, right? Do we get AP? Do we get AP back now with the Ghost crew, since we're listening to Sassy Droid?
He's there. He's there. He's got to be there with Hera somewhere. Yeah.
I love him. I would love him to interact again with Chopper. So I'm thinking,
especially if he has that voice.
Oh yeah, 100%. So sorry, that was going through my head today.
That would be the new power couple right there.
AP right.
Or do we hit a limit on Sassy Droids?
No, I don't know. I'm not tired of them yet. So.
Like you got 3PO, you got the ones that don't even talk. You got R5, R2, and BB-8 and Chopper, right?
Yeah, K2. You had,
K2, 3PO, AP,
Defiant.
They're all.
Yeah.
Hu Yang, though,
all three.
Hu Yang brought up to another level, though. That character was incredible.
I got to imagine, no matter what happens with Sabine, who we could see in the Rey movie too. By the way, I was thinking about get her about her mom's age, put her in the 60s, and have her play as a Mandalorian Jedi. Coming over. Shit, I forgot where I was going because that stuck in my head. Right
Sabine with Rey.
Yeah, but before that, I took me on a tangent to get to Rey. I don't know.
Well, we were getting to Sassy Droids, and then you brought
Sassy Droids. I like Sassy Droids. Okay. Let's go back. Oh, Hu Yang. Right?
Yeah.
He's got to survive it somehow. I think they can't kill off Hu Yang. He's 25,000 years old. You can let him die in Ahsoka. He's got to be he should be a big part of Rey's movie. I think he should be kind of the 3PO is not that old, so he can't do it, right? But introducing Hu Yang gets us somebody who could tell the story the whole time.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
And then when we do our 500-year time jump with Grogu at the helm, Hu Yang's in front of this big council talking about a Balin and what he unleashed.
Oh my God!
There it is. Hu Yang is the Wills. Hu Yang is the Wills. He's the one telling the story.
Really?
Yeah.
And Lucas always kind of had that. Marco talks about. That's part of the reason you love the droids, right? Is they're the ones telling the story, right? To Lucas, he kind of always had that thing, and here we go with an actual droid, who I'm sure he had a part in.
I always had, growing up, when 3PO was talking to the Ewoks, doing the whole village story, as like, these are the guys, and they're there at every pivotal moment. R2 has been there in every pivotal moment. He saw the turn of Anakin. He saw the marriage. He saw everything.
As I say, that a certain point of view when he was projecting to the Jawa, or the Jawa was projecting out of his memory. That was.
And you think about the whole collective, and then this whole thing. It's like when the galaxy's finally at peace, and you have R2 and 3PO telling the story, or of the Skywalker saga. You know what I mean? So when you say Skywalker saga, it's long time ago, galaxy far away. They set it up for us that way, and we think like Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni thinks like us. I think that's honestly where it should be headed. We say that all the time, Dave, if you're listening, we kind of like that. I think the collective would love the droids telling a story. It could be Hu Yang at this point, or it could still be R2 and 3PO, because R2's got a lot to say.
Yeah. So R2's memory bank. So now I'm getting there, because he was able to project that. We always talk about Luke, right, and how much he knows about his dad. And did Ahsoka share those training videos with Luke? How much has R2 shared with him now that the cat's out of the bag?
Right?
Right.
Nobody's asked.
He's like, hey, it's movie time, Luke. Let's sit down, grab some popcorn. Here's your mom and dad here. Oh, remember this time when you kissed Leia? All that. It would just go through it all. Every couple of scenes, he would put that up there.
Yeah, why didn't you tell me, R2? He's all, you didn't ask. I have it all right here. It's like, it's all here.
Yoda said I would know when to say something. I didn't know if that was the time.
He saw it all. He saw the temple burn, right?
Yeah.
R2's, it's like
R2's been through this stuff, man. And he was there for the duel.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
When Chopper chimes in with his part of the story, what does he say?
He's cussing a lot more. Right?
I know, right?
Get to me. He's like, get to my part.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to have that at some point, right? They all have to I know we've seen
all the droids just
but those two specifically have to run into each other and have a beep 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 and FU conversation.
What happened to that droids show that we were supposed to get? Is it one that's just been completely dropped?
I don't know if anything officially statement, but it's been dropped off of everything as far as slates and talk. But
now that you say that, wouldn't it be more interesting now that we've got a bunch more sassy droids and you can
and maybe that's
together?
You know how this last 5 years has been changing on the fly.
Yeah,
they could have went like, look, we had an idea. Look, take a step back. We're not afraid to take a step back anymore. So when we introduce droids again, it's Hu Yang at the helm now. Now that we have like this, and we have a direction of Hu Yang and what we want to do. We have a direction.
Fill in the gap of where he's been.
Yeah.
Was he at the Jedi Temple whenever everything happened? Whenever everything went down? Is that why he wasn't in anything past that? Is because, number one, he wasn't written yet, but number two, was he like in some kind of stasis in the Jedi Temple or
was out training younglings like it was on Ilum getting their crystals, right? Like how we were introduced to Hu Yang at the first
when the Empire fell. When the Empire fell, did Ahsoka save him from the Imperial Palace? Did
we not? I don't know why it's in my head that he lived on that ship.
I thought so too. That's what Ahsoka's ship is. What Hu Yang's ship was, and so because when we got introduced to him when Hondo took it over,
it wasn't that ship. It was I think
not necessarily that ship. I don't think he did.
Okay.
But that would be cool to know. I've been meaning to look up his ship to see if that was it or not. But
I thought
it's also it's just a Jedi fighter or Jedi shuttle, right?
Right.
But he was. I don't think he was at the temple because of that. That's how he's an easy survivor, right? Although they wouldn't go after him. He's a droid. Why would they really? Why hunt him down? They wouldn't think about it.
Unless he had younglings with him.
Unless he had younglings, yeah.
And Vader would know. Vader would know who he was, how dangerous he could possibly be. You've got a weapons forger right there that could create
as a data bank.
He's like the armorer of the Jedi. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, as a data bank.
Professor Hu Yang's ship was more. It almost looked like a Corellian hammerhead Corvette, but with the instead of the hammerhead up and down, it was kind of sideways.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know how the Emperor had a the Crucible in the Clone Wars, the Clone Wars where they had what Cad Bane was after, the thing to identify all the Force beings out there. Hu Yang is the history of so if they have the saber and they can match the saber, to the whatever, they can be like, all right, elimination, all these eliminate.
Yeah, you're right. No, he's valuable. You're right. It would go out. But
I like the fact that his ship's name is the Crucible. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's like they do tend to bring a character or two like you don't know how you live without. Like this is the perfect Star Wars character, and that's kind of where. Well, see, B2 was kind of trying to be that in Andor, right? Is that his name, B2?
That poor little guy. Yeah. B2, Emo, yeah, B2 emo.
Oh, B2
Yeah,
emo, that's
B2
right.
emo,
And,
yeah.
but just kind of like the show to me. It was a little emo, that's all. But I did like the droid. He was just a sad puppy.
He was
getting kicked a lot. That was.
I thought he would do more. I thought the droid would do more.
Other
than a security pet, but
yeah.
So
sassy droid being a Disney princess side animal crystal is acceptable to me.
Yeah.
Because they're better than that.
It goes hand in hand.
Some of them have jets in the sides of them, and they can fly. So it's okay for sassy droid.
They do.
Or in case of Chopper, his jet comes right out of the center.
Yeah.
That droid is so.
Well, let's get out of here, guys. I think we beat the horse on a few things. We can kind of like call it a night and then regroup again next week when we see what else is going out there and what other theory crafting stuff we can have. Because again, as soon as we get off here, it's like the brain still clicks on what Star Wars.
That's usually when it gets better because then we're not filtered.
Yeah. Well, it just becomes up like one idea or one theory crap leads into like all these possibilities, right? And then we get excited about the possibilities of the possibilities and then what these shows can bring in. So that's exactly what we do, and that's exactly why we love Star Wars, because it's just like we're living in this world. There's so many different directions it can go. So
yeah.
If you guys have anything final to say or bring it in, we'll go ahead and kick it out of here.
That was fun seeing a bunch of new people in the chat today with a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Too. I really liked, what was it? Relaxing Anxiously with the passion in there.
Aggressively, yeah.
I love that. I totally love that. And Steve had a couple of good stuff having some new people in here. That was cool. And all of our old folks are old.
Yeah, I see a 007
all of our
in too,
existing members in here in the pit getting digested. I love it. Good stuff today. Really
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we are not arguing amongst ourselves, we have our pit to lean on and try to, bring in stuff.
Hey, man, we're here for ratings. If an argument works, the argument works.
Hey, the voice kept up. The voice is good.
Yeah,
that was on you guys. Yeah. I was not involved in this one. Like
I was aiming at you today, man. It got to Scott. Damn.
It totally missed me. I
know. Next week. Unless Joey's turn. It's
deflected
Joey's
it.
It's Joey's turn. That's why he's always quiet. He don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do it.
Oh my god.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you everybody in the pit. Thank you guys. Scott, you feel like up to the kicking us out of here? Or
I'll do it. Sure. One of these days I might actually write it down so I know what points.
Nah, we don't want to script nothing.
6 years in, why start now, right?
Thank you very much. We love you all.
Sorry, I was watching our older episodes where it kind of was written down and
wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
There was one person that wrote stuff down. Like, what are you? What?
Yeah.
We love you, Mikey.
Oh, you had to say it. There we go.
I do love Mikey. I miss Mike.
We do. I did too.
You know what's gonna happen?
Where is I haven't heard from Fanboy in a long time.
It's been so long. I miss him. Anyway, thanks everybody for stopping in and watching us yammer on for an hour and 19 minutes about all things Star Wars. We really do appreciate you. Maybe one of these days you can get invited into somehow one of our after show talks. I don't know. We're working on things. We'll see what happens. But in order to do that, you got to be a member of the Shadow Council. And the Shadow Council is our Patreon page. So if you log on to patreon.com/Sarlacc Digest Podcast, join the Shadow Council. We've got 2 rate tiers. It's really affordable. And it pretty much, or 3 rate tiers, but 2 of them unlock everything. So you can get all sorts of stuff. What else? We have got our Jesus, maybe you should take it. TikTok channel, Sarlacc Digest. TikTok, with our 1-minute toy reviews. We have got our Instagram post where we're starting a meme generator competition between Chris and Chris as he delivers different types of memes all day, every day, whatever.
I just think the Star Wars universe talks about us a lot, and I like it, and I appreciate it.
I do too. It's pretty
They're
awesome.
always talking about us. If you didn't catch it, there's a lot of stuff in there.
There is.
There is.
Always
there is.
What does Bailey speak?
We can also, if you also log on to Facebook, if you're old like us, you have a Facebook account, log on to facebook.com and look up the Star Wars community, brought to you by the Sarlacc Digest podcast, where we continue the conversation. We keep it rolling there too. What else have we got? We've got Darth Moocher with Tashi Station Emporium. I mean, look at that. Morgan Elsbeth is watching over the Imperial Station right there, the Death Star. And he also does these stands right here. Look at those figure stands. Are those figures falling over? No, they are not. And that is thanks to Darth Moocher and Tashi Station Emporium.
Without talk about how good Morgan Elsbeth is. Sorry. It's one of those characters that really got, not even the figure, just the character. That really got me too. I see Steve Huyang as the best character, but there were so many good characters in that show. I really loved. I loved.
Really were.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So, that's okay. Where else? What else did I leave off on? Hit the like button down below, TashiStationEmporium.com. Log on there, order some stands, use the code Sarlacc Digest Podcast for 10% off your order today. Maybe tomorrow too. I don't know. How's your supply looking, man?
I've got stands.
He's got stands.
They don't stay too long. Yeah, they don't stay too long, but I got them. Constantly making more.
It's
don't
funny.
Stand your guys on your own supply.
No, don't do that. Oh, I like that. Don't stand your guys on your own supply. Visit Tashi Station Emporium today. Also, the Fallen Fett. Awesome. Follow his Instagram at the Fallen Fett, right?
Fallen Fett.
Yes.
The Fallen Fett.
Yeah, Fallen Fett.
At the
Fallen Fett Chronicles at the Fallen Fett. We'll say it enough times. I think we just need to say it one more time, and he pops up like Beetlejuice. Right?
Yeah.
So
what I missed.
Let's talk about Ahsoka.
Yeah.
That's all I got, gentlemen. So
cool. Well, again, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. We're gonna dig up some whatever news is out there. So until next time. Scott,
keep it nerdy, everybody. Hi, Miss Sunflower. You joined in just at the wrong time. Keep it nerdy.
Bye.
Remain geeky.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.